I should have died that night. They say I died on the night of December 29th, 1916. Historians will tell you that I was poisoned, shot, beaten, and drowned by men too cowardly to face me in daylight. They tell you Yusupov, Purishkevich, and their accomplices ended the mad monk's life to save Russia from ruin. But I am Grigory Efimovich Rasputin, and I did not die. I bled, I burned, I raged, and then I rose. I write these words in my own hand from exile years later, my beard now streaked with grey, my hands scarred and trembling, but alive. The world thinks me a demon, a savior, a sorcerer. Let them think what they will. The truth is far stranger than myth. I was born in Pokrovskoye, a filthy Siberian village, to dirt farmers and cruel winters. I wandered fields, spoke to icons, healed sick livestock with prayers whispered in the night. They called me strange, gifted, touched by God or the devil. I was all of those things, and I was hungry for life, for power, for the touch of holy fire. By 1903, St. Petersburg knew my name. I healed the Tsarevich's bleeding when the doctors failed. My prayers stopped the boy's hemophilia, or so they believed. In truth, I reached into the boy's spirit and commanded his blood to still itself. They called me father, though I never took vows. Ministers trembled when I spoke. Noblemen kissed my hands and hated me in secret. They plotted, but I grew drunk on their fear. On that fateful December night, Prince Felix Yusupov invited me to his palace. There were women, music, a table heavy with cakes and Madeira wine. I laughed and drank, and when I felt the first sting of poison on my tongue, I smiled at him. He expected me to collapse, to thrash and die. But I am Siberian stock, built of roots and venom. The poison only sharpened my senses. Then came the gunshots, 2 of them. I fell, felt the hot rush of blood, heard their cheers. They thought me finished and turned away to toast their cowardice. I rose, my eyes burned with a black fire I did not know I possessed. I charged Yusupov first, striking him with a candlestick, shattering his teeth. Purishkevich fired again, but I lunged and tore the pistol from his hand, the bullet carving my shoulder. I slammed the barrel beneath his chin and fired. His skull burst like overripe fruit. Yusupov screamed and fled down the corridor. I followed him through the snow, each step a drumbeat in my ears. I caught him by the Neva River. He wept, begging me for mercy. I whispered a prayer and plunged him beneath the ice. History would say they drowned me. The truth is, I drowned them. I returned to the Winter Palace wounded, delirious, and laughing. The Tsarina fell to her knees. "Grigory, they said you were dead." I told her what had happened. Nicholas II summoned his generals and ministers. "They've murdered loyal men," they whispered. But when I showed them the prince's signet ring, still sticky with blood, their faces went pale. From that night on, I was no longer merely the healer. I was the Tsar's shadow, his dark angel, the man who had survived death and brought judgment on traitors. The Great War raged on. Our armies bled out in the mud, but I walked among the camps like a prophet. Soldiers believed I could not be killed, so they fought with madness in their eyes. I blessed bullets. I whispered victories in their dreams. When revolution stirred in the streets, I unleashed my fury. Secret police loyal to me infiltrated the Soviets, turned agitators into martyrs before they could speak. Lenin's train was derailed outside Petrograd in 1917, an explosion orchestrated by my own hands through intermediaries. History as you know it shattered that day. The Tsar did not abdicate. Instead, I convinced him to forge an iron hand. We declared martial law. I stood beside Nicholas on the balcony of the Winter Palace, my beard matted with frost and blood, as we addressed the crowds with promises of bread and mercy, backed by the threat of my vengeance. In the years that followed, I became more than a man. The church declared me a living saint after I survived an assassination attempt in Kiev in 1919. My face appeared on icons. Mothers named their sons Grigory, hoping for the gift of survival. But power demands payment. My dreams grew darker. I saw rivers of blood, visions of machines and fire. Stalin rose in this timeline too, but not as a revolutionary. He became my protege, my iron fist. Together, we built a Russia that was neither Tsarist nor communist, but something older, something pagan and holy. We burned the old Duma, raised temples to strange saints, and sent our armies west in 1925. Europe trembled as the mad monks' banners swept through Poland, Germany, and beyond. Now I write these words in a monastery high in the Urals, far from the courts and armies that once knelt before me. My hands shake not from age, but from the weight of what I have done. Had I died that night, perhaps Russia would have fallen to Bolsheviks and then risen anew. Perhaps millions would have died, or perhaps fewer. History is a serpent. I only twisted its tail. They call me tyrant, saint, demon. I call myself a man who refused to die when death came calling. I have seen visions of my own face carved into cathedrals, and of peasants whispering my name in terror long after I am gone. But still I live, still I dream, and in the silence of night, I sometimes wonder, what if I had simply stayed dead? Signed, Grigory Efimovich Rasputin, the man who should have drowned beneath the ice, but did not.